Human beings can be the most dumbest species on this planet. When we tout how intelligent we are, yet we lack the basic understanding of how to live with the earth. Human beings control, seize and dominate, and we can be so ignorant to the natural order of this world. Our Western culture boasts a civilized society, and still we are far from this. We foolishly follow the ego and place ourselves on a self-righteous pedestal. When we judge and push our uneducated opinions upon others. When we are able to differentiate between the ego self and who we truly are, human beings will be able to release ourselves from the ignorant tantrums acted out by the ego. The ego self demands that others fit in with our own way of living. And this is where tensions and unrest begins to stir. Instead of respecting each other's culture and lifestyle, people begin to develop a hatred towards other people. In June last year, there was a shooting at Pulse nightclub in Orlando, Florida. I wanted to talk about how senseless and merciless these killings affect people and damage the very spirit of who we are as human beings. People who can distinguish between the ego-driven hate and emotional immaturity are standing for the decency and regard for all human beings. We cannot be divided by difference or diversity. We need to be connected by dignity and respect the way of others. I would like you to tune in to the following video as I talk with Amir Ahmed. Amir and myself talk about how these violent insults impact upon humanity. With much respect, this is my tribute to those who had to leave this earth under the most tragic circumstances. One life lost is one too many. The gay community is devastated by this horrendous act. The shootings at Pulse nightclub in Orlando, Florida has shocked our community. Each and every one of these people had a life, and now they are gone. The world has changed now, and it cannot go back to the way it was. I'm sad. I'm very, very sad. And I don't want this to fade out as another tragic event that the world has seen. But I want to impress this upon the world. What a beautiful expression of life that the gay culture lives. I'm joined by Amir today, and I wish these were happier circumstances that we're chatting together today. However, we got much to say about our community and to share with others. Amir, the gay community is a very exuberant and vibrant, and it is unreservedly expressed by us. But this is something that doesn't fit into the everyday living conditions of mainstream society. So this in itself is challenging because we don't quite fit the mold of the everyday, the normality, or what we're supposed to be to fit in. I don't know how I'm supposed to be to fit in.
Mm-hmm.
All I know is how to be myself.
Yeah.
Amir, as someone who stands proud in our community, how challenging is this for you on an everyday basis?
I think for me, it was a process of coming to terms with who I was. And that was initially something difficult, I will say that, but only because it was based on restrictions that I mostly put on myself. I was worried about how would my family think, how would my friends think, how would the rest of the world think, but I never thought about how happy it would make me to come to terms with who I was personally. And it was something that I really had to grasp, and I didn't come out until I was in my 20s. And I thought about the people that would come out before me and how much braver they were than I was, and how much they came to terms with themselves with courage and with acceptance. And that's something I wanted. I wanted to get to that point in my life where I was okay with who I was, and I didn't have to please other people, and I didn't have to be a certain way, and I didn't have to portray myself in a way that was deemed acceptable. I could be myself, and that should have been enough, and that was something I strived to encompass within myself. So when I did eventually tell my parents, I didn't really come out to everyone. I let my life proceed, and I did what I wanted to do, and I let people through their own curiosity or through proper friendship come to me, or I would go to them on an individual basis and tell them. But it's not like I, threw a parade and had a huge post on Facebook about it.
Yeah.
But having said that, I noticed that it wasn't just about identifying myself. It was about completing myself. It was about really gathering who I was as a person and showing the world. And that, for me, is more important. It's more about me understanding who I was so I could understand other people better as well.
Yes.
And for me to understand myself and to come to terms with who I was, I felt like things that were different, or things that were things I couldn't understand about other people, or things I couldn't understand about things that were happening around me, I could suddenly accept, and I could come to terms with. And it reminds me of a quote from Maya Angelou, and she said that if everything is human, nothing can be alien to me. And if I could do that for the most horrific things that were happening to people, I could certainly learn to apply that to the things that were not directly offensive to me, but things that were just people expressing love, as opposed to things acted out on the basis of fear. So in day-to-day life, I learned to accept other people for their choices. I would learn to understand, and I would learn to be much more encompassing of people based on, am I reacting to this out of fear, or am I being a loving person of everything and everyone around me? So that's what I'm at now. And I think living day to day is something that has become exponentially more comfortable, because I am living in a way that is being much more honest and true to myself.
I think to a certain degree it's uncomfortable anyway to live if you were on the outskirts of society, because you have to conform or be a certain way, so you're under the radar, so you don't get attention. And I think what I understand is, through living a gay lifestyle, is that I can't walk under the radar because I'm living through an expression of my heart. There is vibrancy there anyway, irrespective whether I'm gay or straight. Living through an authentic expression of yourself, of course, promotes and fosters creativity, vibrancy, exuberance for life. And this is why the gay community is so exceedingly outstanding, if you wish. Stands out. Yeah, that's a better word. Stands out to mainstream, because mainstream is of some understanding that everyone needs to act a certain way, or be a certain way, and think a certain way, and dress a certain way. And the gay society, we can't do that. We're so individual, each and every one of us. We have to live through a genuine expression of ourselves. Otherwise, we're lost. Otherwise, we're just following everyone else. And this is not living. This is not living through our hearts. This is not a fuller expression of who we are. And I think within the gay community that we're lucky enough to find this exuberance, to find something within us, a purpose or a motivation and an expression to be who we are, and we celebrate it. We celebrate it, don't we, Amir?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's something that I could apply to everyone, I feel.
Sure.
Every single person has a place, or they have a uniqueness about them. And defining yourself based on your sexuality is fine, but I feel like there are so many facets to a person. It's one part of who you are.
Yes.
And it's
Yeah.
not enough for me, and it shouldn't be enough for anyone else to judge you based on that. It's a shame that many people do, but there are ways to accept that you are different and that you are more, but you are also part of something bigger. You are part of something that is a lot bigger than anything you can conceive, and we'll possibly never conceive. I think we're all in this together, and a united front is a stronger front. And I think we owe it to ourselves, as not only as homosexuals, the LGBTI community can come together, but we can also come together with people that are outside of our realm. That is something that I think is incredibly important.
Yep.
I think that as human beings, we are here together. As earthlings, with everything that lives on this earth, we need to be in a circle that is harmonious, and it's just something that people need to come to terms with, that your hate is not going to make the world better. It will never make the world better. Your insecurities are not going to strengthen you, and they're definitely not going to weaken anyone else. So you can do whatever you like, but it is not going to have the impact you want it to have. Not on me, and not on my friends, and not on the kind of people that I know. That will not happen, and I don't think anyone in their right mind will let that be the case.
And it can't be the case. As I said, the world has changed for me, and I can't go back living the same life as I did before. I want to do everything within my understanding of myself to promote a culture that is of quality, that is of understanding. I'm not here to convince anyone. I'm not here to make people change their minds that, oh, the gay people are good people. This is just a sexual orientation. Now, what I do in my home with my partner, it's my business, and it's not displayed in a public arena by any means at all, Amir. And I think this is the misconception and misunderstanding that some people, and I'm not going to say every heterosexual, because they don't. There's a lot of heterosexuals out there who understand who we are and don't judge us because of this. But my point being is that we're here living an expressive life, and we're doing it through dignity, through decency, and the virtue of who we are. We're actually not depraved. We're not perverts, and we're not pedophiles. I was very saddened. I was disgusted. Yes, I was angry to read some posts that, at least I think something to the lines of, I didn't pay that much attention to it because I didn't want to, give it that much energy. But it said something along the lines, well, at least the gays got killed and innocent people were spared. Human beings died. Human beings from my community died. I don't know.
But it's a lot of unnecessary hate, and it's instigated by the most ridiculous, most absurd factual basis, that being old texts that are outdated and not at all, I think, relevant to our day and age. And for people to not understand what they're being presented, And to live by that is completely dangerous, because you're living in the past, and it's not okay. It's not okay to apply lessons that were learnt hundreds of years ago, thousands even in some cases, to today and to the people of today, and to be so unaccepting and to be so selective of the passages that you read and the things that you're exposed to is uh, it's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. If you don't understand something, make an effort. It's not difficult, and it leads to these kind of attacks, which were attacks on human beings, which are attacks very targeted on LGBT people, and it's completely irresponsible, and it's torturous on everyone, because it is such a shame. It is such a shame that these things are happening in this day and age, and I don't think anyone in their right mind can accept that this is okay. I think no one can do that. It's not okay. These were children. These were people barely, some of them not even 20 yet, 18, 19. They were studying. They were trying to contribute to the world. They were in a place that was safe, a place that was supposed to be a home of sorts for them. It was a place of expression. It was a place of music and, artistry and fun. And it wasn't a place where people congregated to amass a level of rebellion. It was a place of love. It was a place that people could go and freely express themselves away from, as you said, eyes that were unapproving or anything of that nature. So that is exactly what really hits a lot of people, that they want safety, and this attack was a complete and utter violation on an institution that instigated peace. And for anyone to say anything hateful about that is just instigating more murder and more violence.
These people never had a chance. We've all got a rite of passage in this world, a right of respect, decency, and the right to live our lives as we see fit. Now, should we corrupt our own virtue? Rest assured, it's not within the self-righteousness or arrogance of any one person on this earth. It's up to the higher power of the heavens to correct our own selves, so we understand that we're not living a way in accordance to the dignity and quality of a human being. These people never had a chance. They were deserving of a measure of life. And again, I think that's why we're doing this, Amir, because we want to give this measure for them, in the hope people will understand and see the gay community is an integral part of the world. We're all living here on planet Earth together, and yet some of those on Earth is just wants to entice hate. It's not acceptable. Not in my world, not in my life.
I agree. I, I don't understand the, the actions, and the thoughts are completely different. For someone to have a thought or a feeling is an internal process. I can respect that. To act out on that is nothing short of evil in many cases, or just damage. Someone who is not completely at ease with themselves or with other people. But to act out on it is something that's it's tragic. It's too much hate, it's too much negativity, it's too much to bring forward and outward and to inflict that on people. It doesn't say a lot about you as a person if you are the type of person who does that.
Well, we're probably not here to judge because, as I said, if others are judging us, we can't be in a position to judge them, Amir. You know, and it is something that is very emotional, and it has you know, got to our very core of us. However, we can't match this attacks and these attitudes or mindsets with anger. We've got to find a way within ourselves, each and every one of ourselves, to say, okay, how can I express myself even more with decency, even more with virtue, even more with quality?
Yeah.
This is the only way that we're going to stand against this hatred and misconceptions and mindsets. It's contorting humanity. It's damaging us. It's hurting us. People have left this earth, and it's not good enough. Not through acts of violence, not through attacks. It's not good enough. Amir, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
I really admire your openness, because not a lot of people are able to do so.
I'm happy to be here. It's helped me think about the people that I love and the people that I admire.
Yeah,
And for me, it's not just my family and it's not just my friends. I think about a lot of people who were strangers that I'd never seen again, but had a positive, lasting impact on me. And I feel like everyone can be those people, at least. Just find a way to make your day, someone else's day, something they'll remember, something that they can take with them. It will be a much better world.